Sir, shall we start it, sir?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Very good evening to all. I welcome you all for this national webinar on strategies to write a research proposal and funding opportunities in India and overview. In this webinar is intended to various funding opportunities in India for the benefit of the academic community, faculty members, research scholars, and students. So I welcome you all. In this connection, now I invite Mr. Subhashini, Mr. Library in Charge, to gathering welcome address. Please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Good evening to all. I'm happy to have opportunity of welcoming you all to this national level webinar on strategies to write a research proposal and funding opportunities in India and overview. First, I would
Hold on.
like to my special thanks to our principal, Dr. L. Ganesan, giving for opportunity to organize this webinar. Sir always giving importance to library for the betterment service. At the outset, let me begin by expressing warm welcome to our chief guest for today's function, Dr. T. Kubendran, scientist C. High Altitude Regional Center, Geological Survey of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Saffron, Solan, Himachal Pradesh, India. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitations and joining us today. We look forward to listening to you, sir. I extend my warm welcome to our principal, Vice Principal, Dr. S. Rajakarunakaran. I welcome you, sir. I am pleased to welcome Dr. S. Kannan, Professor and Head, Department of Electrical Engineering and Research Counseling Coordinator. Welcome, sir. We are glad to have with these participants from various colleges across India. On behalf of RIT family, I welcome you to be part of this webinar. I am sure you will greatly benefit for this webinar. I welcome the heads of various departments and faculty members of RIT and other staff members of the institute present here. Thank you for making it to this function. I once again welcome one and all. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Now, I invite student coordinator, Mr. S. Ragul, third year mechanical, to introduce about our resource person. Please.
Yes, sir. A warm good evening to everyone, those who are present in this meeting. I am glad to say about our resource person, Dr. T. Kubendran, is currently working as Scientist C, High Altitude Regional Center, Zoological Survey of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. He has completed MSc Zoology from Ayyanadar Janaki Ammal College, Sivagasi, and his MPhil and PhD completed from Tyagaraja College, Madurai. He has overall 15 years of professional experience, received 3 academic honors from NPDF, National Postdoctoral Fellowship SERB DST, Department of Zoology, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, Senior Research Fellow and Junior Research Fellow, University Grants Commission, Government of India. Received 7 internal and external research supports. Major supports received of cost in 19.20 lakh during 2016 and 18, and received of cost 41.4 lakh during 2019 and 2021. Agency Department of Science and Technology, Science and Engineering Research Board SERB, Government of India, New Delhi. Received 2 awards for discovering of new species. New species name Labiobatis soldani. Patent title New species discovered from India. Year of award 2014. Agency or country Entomological Society of America Science Daily. New species Neograbatis parmakalyani and Labiobatis jacobusi. Patent title Contribution of knowledge of Tenubatis and Nigrobatis from the Western Ghats of India. Year 2015 Agency Zoo Taxa Switzerland. Received 3 new records from India. First record of genus Bugona Hacker 1957 and range extension of 2 species belonging to Bugona in India 2018. New record of genus Fovilla Navas 1912 from Southern Western Ghats, India, 2019. Publication. He has published 18 publications in journals and books and 9 book chapters. Book published: Faunal Diversity of India, Biogeographic Zone, and Indian Trans-Himalaya, published by Director, Zoological Survey of India, Kolkata. I am glad to invite you, sir, because I am your student from your school, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, Rahul. Dr. Kubendran sir is the right person to share the knowledge about the research proposal and funding. Yes, now I hand over the session to Dr. Kubendran sir. Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. First of all, I thank to the management, Ramco Institute of Technology, and respected principal, Dr. Ganeshan, and vice principal, Dr. Raja Karnagaran, and the research coordinator, Dr. Yash Kannan, given me the great opportunity. And my special thanks to Mr. R. Chandran, senior librarian, and other members of coordinator in this program, for me given the great opportunity to share my knowledge with you. So, sir, can I share my slide?
Yes, sir. Sure, sure.
Sir, it is visible?
No, sir. No, sir. So please open your PPT.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, yes. Make it full screen, sir.
Sir, it is visible full screen. Hello?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Actually, today it is one of the most important topic for all faculties as well as research scholars. That is strategies to write a research proposal, the funding opportunities in India. It's I am giving a small overview only. So already Rahul has introduced myself. Presently, I am working as scientist C, and on a major research project as a principal investigator funded by DST, SERB. So I'm working in a Zoological Survey of India. So first of all, I will give brief introduction about my institute. So it is in the year 1906, during British period, our institute has established, and it is directly coming under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So we have nearly 15 regional centers all over the nation. So in that, our headquarters is located in Kolkata, and all regional centers established every 5 years plan. So that based on the jurisdiction, we have named like High Altitude Regional Center, Southern Regional Center, Western Ghats Regional Center, Desert Regional Center, Northeastern Regional Center. Like that, based on the region, they have established 16 regional center all over the country. So this is our present high altitude regional center. Here only I am working. So basically we are the research departments. So our jurisdiction is we are covering the faunal diversity in Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir. So our primary objective is exploration, survey, inventarization and monitoring of faunal diversity in various states, some selected ecosystems and protected areas of India. So we are mainly focusing taxonomic studies. So in that ministry is directly giving fund to our department to do the research. Apart from, we are applying other funding agencies for additional fund means it is a special interest to individual scientist. It is not mandatory, but even though based on our potential, we are applying for other funding agencies to do the extra work. So we are doing threatened and endemic species which is going to extinct or extend or endangered species. We are compiling the data, so then we are preparing red data book like that. These are some primary objectives when British government ruling in India, that time we have started this. So after that, based on the current situation, we are changing the our objectives, like secondary objectives, because based on the advanced technology we are going to that, like GIS, then DNA barcoding or DNA fingerprinting, related to environmental studies as well as faunal studies. Then our institute also providing some fellowship to do their PhD work, that is JRF and SRF, then some associateship, that is PDF, like also we are providing. After retirement, some scientists are there, for them we are providing the emeritus scientist, like that. We are doing a lot of collaborative research work with other institutes all over the India as well as abroad. So now we can go to our important topic, that is how to write a proposal. So in that, where we can get the notification. So each and every funding agency having the personal website. So you can just check their website, that notification will come. So we can find out that sometimes the journal Current Science backside you can see some advertisements, call for proposal, like that it will come. Then sometimes social medias like Facebook. Now all funding agencies, they have created their own Facebook, that is a social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like that. So from that also we can check whenever they are giving call for any proposal, we can see from that also. So apart from these, we can get the information or notification from our friends circle, whomever has already applied or already they got the proposal, they will automatically get the notifications. So from these 3-4 sources we can get the notification for call for proposals. Then this is one of the important thing. Before writing a proposal, you need dedication, and another important thing is full confident is a very important, because sometimes the management or principal or head of the department will pressurize you to apply proposal. For namesake you should not apply. So in to write a proposal or to apply any funding agency, you need a dedication to prepare the proposal. Based on your interest, definitely you will get the uh, fund from funding agency. For namesake, for last minute, or for other person pressure, if we are applying, it is totally waste. Definitely we will not get fund, because main thing we need main confident as well as dedication to write a proposal. Because everybody is knowing everywhere that politics or favorism is there, not only in institute, but funding agency also, that type of practice is there. But we should not bother about any politics, any favorism. Our duty, we have to apply and we have to wait, because if our proposal is eligible, definitely we will get. If any politics or any favorism they are doing, even though we will get. Okay, why I am telling, this is my policy, what policy I am following in my life, that thing I am sharing you. Okay, I have some personal experience also is there, how to evaluate the proposal and how they are deciding or how they are approving your proposal. Because this last 2 3 years I have evaluated 3 4 proposals, major research proposal from DST. That's why I have some personal experience also having. Then we have organized some committee, how committee to evaluate the proposals in our organization. So like that, based on my personal experience, today I am going to explain yours. Why I am telling this favorism or this politics or their favorism means, because everybody are knowing, for example, any college assistant professor, they are uh, telling already candidate has selected, for namesake they are conducting interview. Okay, it's a fine, you don't bother about that. Even though you have to apply, your duty is you have to apply. Okay, for example, 10 posts are there. If they are doing 90 percentage their own candidate, but 10 percentage they have to give merit, why you should not coming under that 10 percentage? Okay, you have to concentrate to willing or to experience, you have to apply. So 1 or 2 times if your proposal is rejected, then you can learn how to write better. If you are going for any assistant professor or any job, if you are rejected, then you can learn how they are asking questions, where we are lacking. So through failure only we can learn more opportunities. So that thing you don't forget. Okay, now we start how to write a new proposal. In that we are going to discuss how to find your area, do your background work, so which funding agency you are going to apply, eligibility criteria and their guidelines. You have to give plenty of time to prepare your proposal. Be clear and get feedback in advance. That means you have to your proposal, you have to give your expertise or some known person who is experienced. From them you have to get you have to check your objectives. Then choose the best team for your work. That means your co-workers, to which person you want to collaborate. That also you have to select very careful, because before applying or during applying, that person is very kind with you, but after proposal approval, then that person will change. That means your entire collaborative work will suffer. Then automatically your entire project work will suffer. So that best teamwork you have to choose before submission of proposal. Then elements of the study protocol, what are there, we will discuss. And then funding agencies, what are the funding agencies available in India, that also we are going to discuss today. So now first point, that is find your area. So lot of areas are there, but as you are engineering, you have to select your field, whether it is coming, because writing a new proposal, it is common for all, whether it is a basic science or engineering or political science, whatever. The writing proposal method is the same, only inside content is different. This so this theme, everything is different, but steps is similar. Steps is similar for all funding agencies or all proposals. Okay, it's for example agriculture and forestry. Whomever is working in for example Tamil Nadu Agriculture University is there, they are doing agriculture agriculture research. Then forestry, every state government as well as central government having the forest department. So your work is coming under which part? So like that, this ICMR, that is Indian Council for Medical Research, So in that also mosquito main is coming, that is aquatic resources. Then regarding water treatment, water engineering, lot of aquatic resources that also is there. Then bio-based industries, biotechnology, because today COVID-19, everybody is knowing that every country is facing to production of vaccine. So it is coming under biotechnology. So then energy, then environment and climate action, how that climate change is happening, what the reason, then food and health diet, then funding researchers, that is coming under scholarships, then health, um, Indian Computer Technology Research and Innovation, then innovative studies, international cooperations, partnership with industry and member states, then raw material. Like that, different areas are there. From that, which area you are going to work. That means which area already you have done your PhD, and what your supervisor having the knowledge. Based on that, you have to apply for your PhD fellowships. So in that, you have to find the area. So from this, you have to select any one. Next, do your background work. What background work we have to do? That is funding bodies eligibility and guidelines, because each and every funding agency having different guidelines. So it is commonly available in their websites. So first of all, you have to prior to starting a grant proposal, it's essential to study your funding source. So for what uh, for what purpose they are giving funding. For example, now all funding agency, they are giving priority to finding of coronavirus vaccine, so that all the funding agency, they have ready to provide more fund towards discovery of vaccine. So like that, every year they are giving call for or announcement. You have to see which area they are ready to give. So in that, you have to concentrate. Ask yourself, is this the right funding body to apply to for your proposed research? Because you have some ideas whether your objectives coming under that particular funding agency or not. That thing you have to ask yourself. What details are included in the funding opportunity announcements? You have to see the announcement for what purpose they are called for proposals. So irrelevant, we should not submit. So we have to submit based on their opportunity announcement. So in that, we have to select very carefully. What recent grants they have already approved in a similar specialism to yours. So you can check in their websites already what type of proposal they have approved. Based on that, we can prepare our objectives. So this is some hint we can take from their already approved proposals. So does your research match their priorities? That is already I told you. We have to see their theme, their what purpose they have announced. Based on that, whether our objectives are coming under or not. So that thing we have to clearly verify that. So individual funding agencies have differing criteria for research funding applications that need to be followed closely with any opting for online submission. Actually, some of the funding agencies, they are asking hard copy to send their office. So for example, Ministry of Environment and Forest, for their proposal, they are asking hard copies. You know how many copies they are asking? 11 hard copies they are asking. So in case of Department of Science and Technology, or SERB, then DPT or CSAR. So like that funding agency, they are, we have to upload the application through their online portal. So like that, each and every funding agency different criteria. so for their applications. So all funding agency will provide the guidelines for submission, usually available as a document to download from their site. That is, it is usually found in their home page. You can download and carefully you have to read before preparation of your proposals. Okay, next you have to give plenty of time towards your proposals. So you need to allow yourself plenty of time ahead of the deadline to prepare a grant application. So last minute, that is last 1 week, you should not start your preparation of proposal. Before 3 months, because you may know when that call for will come, because every year maximum 2 times they are giving call for. One is for maybe March, one for October. So like that, every year 2 times they are giving call for each funding agency. So that based on that, you have to give time and prepare.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
So someone screening, presenting screen. Ms. Sanmuga Priya, please stop your presenting.
Sir, voice is clear.
Yes, sir. That's okay.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Yes, okay, okay. Thank
You
you.
you share your screen, sir.
Again,
Yes, sir. Okay, va? Okay, va?
1 minute, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make it full screen. Sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. Clear, sir?
Yes, 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 sir. Clear.
Sir, it is visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Sorry for the inconvenience. You can start, sir. You can continue.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to give plenty of time to prepare your proposal. So each section, so I will tell you what are the sections are there. So in that section, every section you have to require due care and attention with the time set aside for you to review and get feedback from your colleague before submission. Okay, that is each and every, because abstract, then methodology, then review of literature, then what is your expected outcome, like that, for your funding, your budget, everything you have to give special attention and due care. Then after preparation you have to give your colleague or your friends or your supervisor or someone, you have to give your seniors and get it checked before submission, because some mistakes will visible. If 2-3 persons are seeing your proposal, then that also we can solve before submission. Next, be clear and get feedback in advance. So understanding research that receives good peer reviews from the experts in the field is essential to your grant application's success. Why I am telling these points? Because for example, you have already did PhD, as you are in the employee, you are the faculty to applying proposal. Your PhD guide must be knowing better knowledge about your field, so that after preparation of your proposal, you give to him or her and get it checked. Okay, so then it is better. Furthermore, asking colleagues who have applied successfully to the same funding body to review the proposal can prove invaluable. So, for example, in your institute, anybody got the same proposal, same funding agency. If you are applying from that person, also you can get your proposal for once small corrections. So So that will be helpful. So choose the best team for the work. Researchers, especially new researchers who has recently joined as a faculty, for them need especially that is should not work alone, because this is your first proposal. Actually now some funding agency like University Grants Commission, they are giving a minor project that is below, I think 5 lakh or 7 lakh small grant. So in that you can enhance your research knowledge, then you can go for major research proposals. So first, when initially you are joining as a researcher, you should not apply for major research proposal, but you have to apply for minor research proposals. So from that you can learn more knowledge. You need to include the details of a strong team to deliver the research and stipulated exactly what they will be doing. That means, because you have recently joined employee, so that you have to tie up with some senior persons. You have to act as a co-principal investigator. So in that you can get some ideas from their proposals, or from their project. After that, after 3 years, sorry, after that you can apply for your individual proposals. So if a junior researcher is doing to be doing the majority of the work, you should be clear about it. Actually, if you are the principal investigator, you are giving some work to your co-principal investigator. That thing before submission you have to clear what part you are going to do, what part your junior is going to do. So in that you have to clear cut, because in between some dispute happened, then your entire proposal, your entire project will suffer. So that whenever you are applying any proposal, first of all, major part you have to keep. Some minor part only you have to give your co-PI. So if co-PI is not cooperating in the last minute, you can complete the objectives. So in that you have to very careful, because once if your project is not successfully completed, then it will reflect in your entire career. So in that point you have to very careful. Additionally, your role in the project should be very clear. Your role means what work you are going to do, how many objectives you are going to do. That part you have to very careful, because if you are giving some objectives and you are depending all work from other person, if that person is not cooperating or not giving last minute permission, then entire project work will suffer. So that you have to very careful in that. So your application may be require you to attach a short form of CV. So in that mainly you have to concentrate how many publications already you have, what field you have worked, so what proposal you are going to write related, your reference only you have to give. Sometimes what we are doing, our PhD work is different. After joining we are taking some new field. So like that, if it is there, your entire publications on your PhD work, so you are proposing for your new field, you don't have any publications, so that type you should not go. So what proposal you are submitting, based on that your previous work should be there. Okay, then only your proposal will be successful. if you have limited experience, um, complement your experience by teaming up with a collaborator to enhance your expertise in certain areas. That's why I'm telling your PhD work is different. When you are joining a new department, then you have to start from zero. So that it is totally different. During that time, you should not apply any major proposals. First of all, you have to work as a co-principal investigator. After that, you are getting some publications from that work. After that, if you are applying funding, definitely you will get. After that, ask yourself the following questions when deciding on a project team. How willing am I to work with others to shape, develop, and implement this idea? Because your idea is different. If you are based on your idea, you are receiving the fund, but tomorrow your co-PI is telling some different idea, whether you can manage or not. That thing before submission you have to clear. Am I willing to be flexible and see different sides of the questions? So if your co-PI is telling something, whether you can alternate your objectives or not. Am I willing to go off or modify an important idea to fit the interest of others? Actually, you are the principal investigator. You have some ideas on your work. If some other person is giving some suggestion or some different idea, you have to think, because your main aim should not deviate based on their others suggestion. You should not change that methodology, you should not change. So that ideas you can take, you have to apply whether it is suitable or not. So in that question you have to very careful, because based on others suggestion, immediately if you are changing your entire objectives, then it is very difficult to complete your project. This is some traditional research project structure in India. It is continuing till date. So first, who is a major responsibility? They are calling as a principal investigator. That is a PI. What his work is, oversees the entire project. He is the whole responsibility to complete the project, whether administrative or whether scientific progress or complete the objectives. Everything is the PI's responsibility. Okay, so co-PI, that is a co-principal investigator, he contributes to a discrete area of expertise. For example, little part he can contribute, or sometimes he can supervise the work. That's all. But he is the not fully responsibility. He is a just a supporting person to complete your project. That's all. Then project coordinator or director, that is a project director. So he is only, this is the administrative duties. He will not interfere any scientific work. Only he will monitor whether you are doing the uh, administrative work as per government of India rule or as per your institute rule or not. This is the project coordinator will monitor. That's why I am telling day to day management of the study. He will not 100% I am telling, he will not interfere your scientific work. He will interfere or he will supervise the administrative work only. Okay. Then after that, every major project, they are giving manpower. It is nothing but they are giving junior research fellow, senior research fellow, junior project fellow, research associate, that is RA. Now they have changed a little bit, project associate 1, project associate 2. Project associate 1 equal to JRF, project associate 2 equal to SRF. So recently DST has given these guidelines. So this is some traditional project structure. So after that, elements of study protocol, that is what are the topics your proposal should be need. So first of all, abstract. This is a very exclusive or a project summary, because when now this for example, any one announcement is coming for call for proposal. So in that you just imagine all over the India how many people are applying, how many proposal they are receiving. So in that each and every proposal they will not read fully. So first, based on your abstract, they will reject your proposal. So first of all, your abstract should be include all your things. Your entire 50 pages of your proposal should come in a abstract. So then only this abstract should be very catchy. That abstract should be very impressive. So in that way only your proposal will go further step. Otherwise, initial step they will reject. If it is not satisfied, then only they can complete all the scrutiny of the proposals. Okay. Then research plan, what you are going to do in the 3 years. That is a research plan. So specific aims compared to previous works, others work, what you are going to special, that thing you have to give very clear. Then background and significance, what is the outcome of your project. If a government is giving 50 lakh to your proposal, to your project, what is the outcome, what is the benefit to nation, what is the benefit to this environment, like that you have to give your significance of the project. Then preliminary results. Preliminary results means of what is your outcome. If you are doing this project, what is your expected outcome, you will achieve this, what result you are going to get, that also you have to give. That is preliminary results we have to give. Research design and methodology, because methodology you have to very careful. So this is one of the important, we will see detailed. Then budget and justification. So budget, for example, 50 lakh you are demanding, you have to give justification, because each and every breakup you have to give justification. I will tell you how to make this. Then resources and environment, where you are going, where your project will be helpful. Okay, where your project work will be helpful, that thing coming under resources and environment. Then timeline, that is if your project you are approaching, that timeline means you have to complete within a 3 years. They will not give any extension. Maximum they will give 6 months. That 6 months they will not give any financial support, only they will give time to complete the project. They will not give any fellowship or any other financial support, only time duration they will give, maximum 6 months or 1 year, based on the situation, based on the progress of your work. Then you see, this is abstract. How to prepare abstract? Executive summary, that is, I told you, this is very important part. Sometimes your proposal will be go for next step based on your abstract. Based on your abstract, your proposal may be reject. Okay, first line. Okay, so that it is a very important part of the study protocol, because it is the first page that a reviewer reads. Okay, that a reviewer matlab, sorry, reviewer means who is going to review your proposal, entire proposal. So that person, that subject expert, for him, according to your abstract, he will come conclude whether it is useful or not. That's why I am telling, whenever you are giving plenty of time to consult and make your abstract very clear cut. Okay, reviewers should, reviewers to be impressed, like that you have to give. Reviewers of granting agencies may make their opinion based on the abstract alone. That's why I am telling it is a very important part. The purpose of the abstract is to describe briefly every key element of the proposed project. So that's why I'm telling 50 pages of your project they will not read. First, within 3 minutes, they will conclude your project whether it is eligible or reject. Understand? So next point is it is good to be complete but concise. It's I think so every researchers they are knowing how to prepare abstract, so that entire research article saying in abstract like that we have to prepare. So this section should include information related to purpose of the research, importance of the research, the background and feasibility of your project, a brief description of relevant information, the target population or hypothesis. This is based on their work. It will vary. So for if you are engineering, based on your innovation, it will come. Okay. A description of the contributions your research will make to the field of knowledge and bring the outcomes. So that thing also we have to clear one line, because maximum abstract 4-5 lines or maximum half page. So in that your 50 page proposal will come. So that concise you have to prepare. Then background and significance. The purpose of the background and significance section is to summarize currently available data in their literatures that is relevant to the project, because any research work we can't create ourselves, because every work we have to take from previous work. So for example, today we are using smartphone. Suddenly they didn't discovered invented this smartphone. Previously old phones, before that were different, before that like that, from existing one to it comes a new one, that is previous work. Okay. So this thing we can take from literatures. Describe how the result of your study will benefit to society or environment or the country. So that thing we have to justify. You need to convince the granting agencies that it is worth their money. That's why I'm telling, if that funding agency is giving 50 lakh, your work should be make them correct, because for example, if you are giving 1,000 rupees to anyone, you are because it is your money, but how they are utilizing, what is that benefit, that thing we have to see. Like that, this government agencies also very conscious they're releasing their money. So for that we have to do our work fully. So specific aims. The purpose of the specific study aims to clearly describe what a research question in the investigators are trying to answer by conducting the study. Because any problem if you are taking that problem through this project, you have to solve whether it is completing or not. Okay, that thing you have to very clear whether it is possible or not. Then only you have to select that particular field. What is the problem to be addressed? So what problem you are going to clear. So like that you have to select. The investigators need to describe why the study is needed now. That's why I am telling this COVID-19 situation, how many persons, how many scientists are trying their best to discover vaccine for COVID-19. So like that you have to give justifications. Okay. why the particular study you are going to take. For any environmental impact study or any biodiversity study, because due to this 4 line or 8 line construction, this diversity or habitat loss is there, that's why I am taking this study. Okay, so like that you have to give that description why you are taking this study presently. Your objectives must be measurable, highly focused, and feasible given the time and money you are requesting in the grant. So your objective must be very clear. It should be completable within 3 years. It is highly focused. You should not deviate from your objectives. Okay, so in that you have to very careful. So methodology, this methodology also person to person, it will, that person to person means based on their work it will different, but content is the same only. The goal of the research design and methods section is to minimize the number of assumptions reviewers must make about your projects. You should not give any loophole to misjudge your proposal. So you have to give clear very clear objectives. Okay, that in that objectives also what methodology you are applying, that methodology should not deviate, it should not broad, it should not coming under previous one. So your methodology should be clear what you are going to do. It should not make reviewers uh, um, confuse. Okay, that you have to very clear. So that you are using scientifically sound approaches. So your methodology scientifically it should be clear. Based on your creativity you should not give. Okay, in methodology you have to mention previous who has worked in that field, whether it is successful or not, in that what modification you are going to give. So in that aspect you have to quote the literature from which methodology you are going to apply. Okay, that's why I am telling your own personal creation should not work. Understand? So you have to give the methodology from literature already what they have done likes your work. So in that you have to quote. Reviewers focus most on the quality of the core research in your application. So they will see your methodology whether it is suitable or not. As such, it is important to explain and reference detail of the methodology and the experiments. Everything you have to give with the literatures. Literature means what person method you are going to follow. In that what alteration you are going to do. In that way you have to give very clear. If the project is location specific, basis for selection of location being highlighted. For example, I am working in a high altitude regional center. We are covering the areas of Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. So in that if I am proposing any work in Ladakh, I have to give justification why I want to work in Ladakh. Because Ladakh, every fauna, that is animal, is very unique because it is a cold desert. Cold desert means it is temperature goes minus 20, 30. So ice cubes are there. So all pond or lake will be frozen. So in that how that animals are surviving. So like that if I am going to study that point, that locality, I have to highlight it. For example, I am going to do research in Western Ghats. I have to mention why I have to select it. That is one of the hotspot. That is a rich faunal diversity in India. That place is a Western Ghats. That's why I am going to study. Like that, I have to highlight the locality. Then research work plan should be clear for 3 years, because every year what work you are going to do, that thing you have to give in a tabular form. So it includes a sample collection or identification or molecular studies or data analysis like that. So first year what basic work you are going to do, second year what research you are doing, third year what you are doing, like that. Breakup you have to give that work component. Okay, that last year maximum last 6 months you have to you need for compiling the data or complete the technical report. Okay, so like that you have to do. Then environmental impact assessment and risk analysis should be provided. If you are going to analyze the pollution level of Delhi, so in that, what is the initial starting point? What is your result outcome? Like that, you have to analyze. Then budget. So in a house also, we are every month when we are getting salary, we are doing budget. So like that, every project we have to give the budget head. So in that very clearly we have to give with justification. Your application should be presented as a good value for money to the funding body, that is funding agency. All aspects of the project should be budgeted for. Actually, for example, um, mm, budget head means maximum budget major equipments. It is non-recurring. So first year only they will give. So in that you have to propose what are the major and minor equipments needed for your proposed work. So you are unrelevant equipments you should not give, so that you have to give very clear what instruments you needed. Okay, then second is manpower. If you want one JRF or two JRF with how much fellowship, how much KHRA total per month, how much into 12 months into 3 years, so total how much it is coming. So in that very clearly you have to give calculation. Then chemicals, then consumables, then travel, then overhead charges, like that different criteria is there. That thing based on their requirement we have to give. So but that uh, amount should be justified. Okay, so then reviewers tend to pick through things quite carefully to ensure the individual component of the project have been appropriately costed. So reviewer can easily judge your budget, whether you are asking less or more or correct. That thing easily they will judge based on your budget head. Provide a justification for all categories of funds required. I told you that is major equipments, manpower, consumables, travel, chemicals, then overhead. Like that in that component, how much you need, and as per requirement. Okay, you should not give more or less. Okay, if you are just beginning as on independent investigator, do not ask for very large grant. That's why I am telling, if you have a newly appointed faculty, you have to apply for small grant. Then you can go for major grant also. After that it is there up to 50 lakh, then 1 crore, 10 crore, then 25 crore, like that also project is there. So demonstrate that you can complete a good small project for a relatively smaller amount of money and establish a good track record before applying for larger grant. That's why I told you initially you have to work as a co-PI with any other person. After getting experience you can go for larger grant, then only the handling is very easy. Then outcomes of your study, it is a consider the following questions you have to ask yourself, as well as you have to solve the questions. Then only your proposal will be clear cut. Why you are doing this research? Okay. For example, if I am asking COVID vaccine production, That means today need vaccine. So like that, why you are proposing your research? Why you want to do this work? So in that you have to give answer. What are the long-term implications? Who will benefit from these findings and who might be uh, de- deprived or harmed as a result of the study? So if some results that hydrocarbon something they are telling it is harmful to something, okay, there are sometimes mining projects are there in that it is affecting the earth, so sometimes it is affecting the air pollution, so like that your project should not affect anything and it should be helpful to the nation. So like that you have to ask yourself what will happen with the research findings. After your results, what is the use of that? That should be very important. What is the ultimate application or use of the research? So you are completing within a 3 years. After that, what you are giving output, what is the use in future? Okay, for useful to others, like that you have to ask yourself and you have to solve the questions, then you are getting some confident about your proposal. So then institutional approval, this is common for all because they ensure that your proposal has the necessary ethics and the institutional approval before submitting to the funding agency. Because why I am telling this, institutional approval means head of the institute, not head of the department. Head of the institute means, for example, in a college, that principal is the head of the institute. If it is university, register to be the signed. If it is a research institute, central government or anywhere, it is a director should be signed. So that is very important, not for the any head of the departments. Okay, only for institutional head to be approved. Otherwise, your proposal will reject. Reject means it will not go for further step before clearing your institutional approval. Institutional approval means your institute is going to provide all the facilities to implement the forthcoming project. Okay, that's why we are taking institutional approval. Incomplete proposals should not be returned to you and will delay the review of your proposal. That's why if you are taken approval from your head of the department, your proposal coming under incomplete proposal. So after that, they will not send for further step. First, they will send you to complete the your institutional approval letter. After that, you are taking 10-15 days, then half of the proposal they have reviewed, then automatically your proposal will go late, then they will not concentrate that much, so it is a chance is there to reject. So that in that point you have to little bit careful before submission, you have to take institutional approval. So next you come to National Funding Agency. You see, these are the funding agencies. They are ready to give fund to do research. That is R and D. So one is All India Council for Technical Education, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. That is a CSAR. Everybody is knowing. Defense Research and Development Organization. That is a DRDO. Department of Atomic Energy, it's a lot of things are there. Mainly we are concentrating CSIR, DRDO, then a Department of Biotechnology, uh, Department of Biotechnology, then then Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, that is MOEF and CC, then Department of Science and Technology, so then University Grants Commission. So like that is 6-7 funding agency mainly we are concentrating, like that each and every discipline can select from this anyone, because these are the common for all. From this you have to select the which funding agency suitable for your research. So funding agencies in India, that's why I told you, we are mainly concentrating UGC, University Grants Commission, DST, Department of Science and Technology, Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB, Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of MOEF and CC, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, and DRDO. So these are the main funding agency for science and engineering. Okay, for this mainly these 2, 4, 6, 8 funding agencies are suitable for that. Next, we can go for one by one. So, University Grants Commission, it is coming under Ministry MHRD. So, in that mainly for faculty, they are giving minor research proposal, that is a minor project, major research proposal. So MRP they are telling. So these two schemes they are providing. After that, for faculty they are giving startup grant. Who has joined initial 3 years, they can eligible for this mid-career award. Then UGC BSR faculty fellowship. It is very prestigious and it is they only for experienced person will get. We will see one by one. Then after this startup grant, the following criteria must be compiled with strictly. Actually, everything available in UGC website. Just a startup grant UGC, if you are giving, all eligibility criteria will come. So this is that's why I am telling the applicant is an assistant professor who has been appointed against a permanent vacancy following due procedure of the university. Okay. So for that person only eligible. Not for after 4-5 years, only who has initially joined for them, they for that person only eligible for startup grant. The applicant is a PhD with a minimum of 5 research publications in reputed journals. That is SCI journal we are telling. So in that minimum 5, it is not that much. So whomever has completed PhD, definitely they have minimum 5 research publications. So they are eligible. After that, based on your proposal, they will select. The application is submitted within a period of 2 years from the date of joining in the university or college. So then mid-career award. This also successfully supervised. Who has supervised minimum 10 full-time candidates, that particular person only eligible for mid-career award. So other person can't apply, only who has supervised at least 10 full-time PhD. Okay, the applicant has successfully completed at least 5 sponsored research project from funding agency or national or international government or private agencies. So this also, if a 10 PhD scholar they are producing means definitely they have completed 5 sponsored project. It's not that much thing. So the cumulative impact factor of the published papers by the applicant should be more than 30. That is impact factor. Okay, so that citation report of Thomson Reuters or ResearchGate or Google citation. Now everything is online. If you are typing Dr. T. Kubendran, it will come everything. What is my citation? What is my impact factor? Everything research related you can get within a second from internet. The applicant has a minimum 3 years of service left. That is, before their superannuation, they can apply. Okay, minimum 3 years required. So this is UGC BSR faculty fellowship. This is one of the important fellowship. In that, just criteria you see, they have successfully supervised the PhD dissertation at least 15 from basic science. If they have did PhD, sorry, they have supervised PhD in engineering and technology at least 10. Okay, but that PhD holder must be full time, not part time. So therefore, their cumulative impact factor is 50. So this is applicant must have handled as a principal investigator at least 3 sponsored research project from national or international or private funding agency in the last 10 years, because these also during their superannuation before 2 years they can complete. Okay, but in that funding agency is giving two PhD scholars, then you can imagine how much manpower they are providing. So it is one of the most prestigious fellowship for faculty. Okay, now I have told about faculties. What about students? Students also, it is based on the category I have classified. So first, during post graduation, so whomever has completed their undergraduation, if they are a single child, they can apply for postgraduate Indira Gandhi Fellowship Scheme. Okay, that girl must be single child, not any more sibling. Okay, only single child can eligible for this fellowship. Then postgraduate merit fellowship scheme for university rank holder. For you, if you are in undergraduation, you got the rank holder, you can eligible for this fellowship to do your post graduation. Okay, research fellowship in science for meritorious student. This also based on the your UG percentage it will come. Okay, okay. These three fellowships for doing post graduation based on your undergraduation score, like that. Okay, after post graduation you have completed post graduation, then you are planning to do PhD program. In that what fellowships are there? So one is junior research fellowship and research associateship. This is for foreign candidates. Foreign candidates also they are providing junior research fellowship in engineering and technology, then junior research fellowship for JRF, science, humanities and social sciences, then a national fellowship for minority students or SC/ST students also separately they are giving. So in that I have to tell you one thing. So this for doing your PhD program, UGC is conducting one exams, that is a national eligibility test. If you have cleared that exam, they are giving fellowship for complete your PhD minimum 3 to 5 years. Okay, this is for common. Whomever has completing or clear that net examinations. Okay, apart from that, whomever coming under minority students, actually previously it is based on some freedom fighters leaders name, like Rajiv Gandhi fellowship or Maulana Azad fellowship, like that different politicians name or freedom fighters name, that fellowship was there. Now this BJP government has compiled and they have merged, that is a national fellowship for minority, national fellowship for SC/ST, national fellowship for backward classes, like that different categories are there. In that category, just no need to clear any exam. This fellowship they are giving based on your MSc percentage of the mark. Understand? So in that when you are doing PhD, you have to admitted PhD. After that, you have to make a proposal and you have to submit to UGC on which category. Okay, based on your MSc mark and your proposal, they will select. Okay, so in that fellowship also equal to who has cleared net exam, equal fellowship they are providing. Then okay, this is for your PhD program. After PhD, what fellowship we will get? So this is limited only is there. One is Dr. DSK Kothari Fellowship, Kothari Postdoctoral Fellowship, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Postdoctoral Fellowship, Postdoctoral Fellowship to women candidates, Postdoctoral Fellowship to SC/ST candidates. You see how many fellowships are there. So it is so government is ready to provide lot of funds towards R&D. So we should utilize. Okay. So okay, this is for after PhD. Before your permanent job, you can get these fellowships. Okay, sometimes UGC, it's not sometime, anytime UGC also providing after retirement of the faculty. Any faculty retired or any scientist has retired in the age of state government 58, central government 60, after that they wants to continue their research work, they can apply for emeritus fellowship. So in that fellowship they will not provide any manpower, they will provide only honorarium for that emeritus scientist. Then they will give I think so 50 or 1 lakh contingent, that's all. So in that they can compile the data or their lifetime research, that is 20-30 years experience in their research, they can compile the data, or they can write a monograph, they can write books, they can publish different works, like that. In that work they can complete for, they are giving only 2 years, not more than 2 years, only 2 years. So after that UGC, that is MHRD coming under. Next you come, we can see the next funding agency is the Department of Science and Technology. This is coming under Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. So in that also startup grant, research grant is there. Then empowerment and equity opportunities for excellence in science. Lot of there. I am what I have concentrated, or uh, I am familiar to what research grant. In that only I am talking. So in that under Department of Science and Technology, now they have implemented Science and Engineering Research Board, that is SERB, SERB. So in that also they are providing Ramanujan Fellowship, Early Career Research Award, SERB Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship, National Postdoctoral Fellowship, like that different criteria they are providing. In that one by one you see startup grant. So this thing you can just go in a website, you will get all details, because who has permanent employee, who has initially joined, they can eligible to do their work. So they must be regular employee. Okay, in public funded, that is UGC funded, or R&D laboratories or institutions in India, only for Indians, not for foreigners. Okay, so in that COPA also allowed. The candidate should hold PhD degree in science or engineering, because both basic science faculty also eligible for this grant, engineering faculty also eligible for this grant. The applicant must hold regular academician. Okay, that is permanent employee, regular employee. Applicant is eligible to apply within 2 years of joining. So same in UGC what they are following, same thing only here also. Within 2 years you have to apply. After 2 years you are not eligible for applying this funding agency. That is this grant, this scheme. Okay, the upper age limit 42, like that. So it's some relaxation also is there for SC, ST and OBC category, physically challenged and women candidates. Okay, as per government norms. So then Inspire faculty, Ramanujan faculties, they are not eligible, because already they have worked in DST. So that these particular Ramanujan fellowship, Inspire faculty fellowship, then these people are not eligible for startup grant. Then UGC faculty range programs are not eligible under SRG, that is a startup research grant. Because UGC faculty research program means some faculty they are appointing through UGC for 5 years, like that. So that they are not eligible, because here only regular employee only eligible. Okay, so here co-PI is not allowed, only PI. This is like research associate, postdoctoral fellows, guest faculty, visiting scientist, consultant or faculty members, they are not eligible. Only permanent employee, whether they can assistant professor or they can scientist, like that category they can eligible. So empowerment and equity. So this also only for national person they are giving. So it is only exclusive for SC/ST category employees. So to enhance their science and engineering, the government is offering this particular scheme to SC/ST category scientist or any permanent employee. So the applicant should hold PhD degree in science or engineering. So the applicant should have at least 4 years of service remaining before superannuation. So that's all. This is no PI is allowed. Only PI is the responsibility of this proposal. Then after that, you can come for Ministry of Environment and Forest. So here they are providing two category of research. One is All India Coordinated Project on Capacity Building in Taxonomy. So mainly they are whomever is working in taxonomy, like us. For them, they are giving fund to do the taxonomic work, discovery of new species like that. The National Mission on Himalayan Studies. This is exclusive for Himalayan studies. This proposal locality, that region covers only Himalaya. In that there are three categories they have. Minor, small grant, medium grant and large grant. You know, medium, the small grant means up to 50 lakhs. Then medium grant means up to 1 crore. Then large grant means up to 10 crore. So like that, it is a long-term monitoring study they are encouraging, and to conserve the fauna in Himalaya. This MOEF and CC is encouraging. Then these are some other funding agencies. Already we have discussed ICAR, DRDO, CSIR, Department of Biotechnology, ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, like that. So these are the other funding agency. They are providing the fund to complete. Okay. Now another important point. So after submission of proposal, so you are getting based on this, you have prepared your proposal. Okay. Then as per their instruction, whether hard copy or whether through online submission, you have submitted. Then your duty has over. After that, do you know how much steps your proposal is facing? So first, what they will do after receiving all proposals, they will do the scrutiny. That is, whomever has not submitted their institutional approval, not following their proper format, fund if it is exceed or very less, that also will be rejected. So like that, for example, each funding agency will receive more than 500 proposals. In that, they have to select only 15 or 20 proposals. Then you imagine how they have to reject the proposals. Okay, this is called scrutiny. Then first steering committee. Then they will first select 100 proposals through scrutiny. Then this 100 proposals will go for first steering committee. It is based on the funding agency. For example, Ministry of Environment and Forest, they are keeping first steering committee. If you are going for DST or SERB, they are telling task force committee. Okay, like that means that a reviewer committee. It is nothing but not anything. It is a task force committee, or a steering committee is nothing but a reviewer committee. Okay, so in that first from that 100 proposals, they will select only 50. Okay, based on the abstract, they will select this. Okay, then after first they are from 500, they have selected 100. After 100, they will select only 50. That 50 proposals will go to second steering committee. So in that, they will select only 25. So in that 25, they will that second steering committee, they will discuss about your full your objectives. So what is the use, how it is possible, how methodology will come, how whether it is methodology is correct or not. So like that, this second steering committee, they will analyze your entire proposals line by line. That is second steering committee. Then after that, they will select only 20 proposals based on the availability of the budget. Based on the availability of the budget, they will select only 20 or 15. Okay. So in that 15 projects, 15 proposals, they will go for financial decision. Financial decision. Now they will leave the scientific parts, only financial. How much you demanded, how much can worth for your project. Okay. So in that, for example, you have demanded 50 lakh, they will, based on your objectives, they will give 40 lakh or 45 lakh or 20 lakh, like that they will give the financial decision. Okay. After financial decision, these 15 or 20 proposals goes for a secretary for approval. After getting approval from ministry, respective ministry, they will send the approval letter to principal investigator. After approval, it may be intimated to principal investigator, not for co-PI, only for principal investigator. They will intimate. Based on that intimation, you can implement your project at your institute. Okay, these are the steps to follow. They are reviewing your proposal for the approvals. Okay, thank you for your kind attention.
Yes, sir.
If you
Thank you
have
very much,
any
sir.
queries, you can clarify.
I request the participants, if you have any clarifications, questions, you please type in chat box. We will ask question on behalf of you. Otherwise, you can unmute your mic. You can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So I just want to know any funding opportunities there for any staff who is not permanently. Can he go in a research area where he can be funded?
Dana, once again you ask.
So my question is,
Mhm.
the things what is spoken right all throughout are the are for only those who are like permanent at their job. Means a teaching faculty who is permanent at their job, a student who is about to, means in the process of passing out. Now in between there might be some people who are be interested in order to do a research.
No,
Can
actually, no. Now I understand. Actually, you see, um, if you are not a permanent employee, okay, you are doing guest lecture or something, you can go for only postdoctoral fellowship. Okay, not for
okay,
any projects. Okay, you can
okay,
eligible for postdoctoral fellowship or research associateship, like that only you are eligible.
okay, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more opportunities are there for that, or only these many
So that's why
postdoctoral?
actually postdoctoral fellowship, I am telling only one line. You just imagine how many funding agencies I have talked. Each and
Okay,
every funding agency is offering for postdoctoral fellowship. Okay, in different name. So nearly I am talking about 15 funding agency. That means 15 postdoctoral fellowships are available. Okay.
okay, okay.
So
Thank you,
if
sir.
you
Yeah.
are, yeah,
Sir, I have a question, sir.
yeah.
Sir,
Can you just open the
what
chat
all you
box,
told,
please?
is it eligible for, is it the same procedure for all the part-time PhD scholars also, sir?
Actually, part-time PhD scholars, I think so, they are not eligible because this SRF or JRF or SRF, whomever has completed 2 years experience, then they are SRF. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
maximum full time only, because they are giving fellowship, no. Fellowship means per month. Now, if for JRF they are giving 35,000 plus KHRA. SRF they
Yes,
are
sir.
giving 38,000 plus KHRA. So that they are giving only for full time. So part time it is not eligible.
But in the last, you showed some slides that the procedure, how they are going to treat the PhD submission. No, sir. It is the same for both regular as well as part-time, sir.
No. Which you are talking about proposal?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No. For example, you have did a part-time PhD, right?
Okay, sir.
Anyone
Yes,
did a part-time PhD. Now they are in a permanent employee.
okay, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then they can follow the same procedure only. If you got your permanent employee, then procedure is the same only. It is not a part-time or full-time.
Okay, sir.
That one I think Rajesh has asked for
Postdoctorate
uh,
visa.
yeah, he asked for only those who are not a permanent employee. For them, I am telling only this postdoctoral fellowship will come. But who has joined a permanent employee, for them, same procedure only. In that, no problem at all. Yeah, next, who is
Parvati, someone raised the
Parvati?
hand. Please ask your question, Parvati.
So please open the chat box. I can type the question on the chat box. That will help you when to answer the question.
Yes.
Chat box is disabled, sir.
Now it's enabled, madam. Now chat box is enabled. You please type it or you can ask.
Any questions?
Someone asked Yasmin any opportunity or faculty fellowship for private employees.
No. Actually, whenever you are going for any fellowship or any research program, it must be regular, not for part-time like. So that is very clear. So whether it is a JRF or SRF or postdoctoral fellowship or whatever, so it is only for full time. So that for a part-time faculty or part-time candidate is not eligible.
Okay, sir. Okay. Some Kaushik Shamanta asking, can I apply for PhD fellowship in India?
Yeah, actually, if she has only MSc holder, after that she has to join the PhD in some recognized institute, whether it is college or university or institute. After that, she can apply for some. I told you, na UGC are providing some fellowship for JRF, like national fellowship or some other fellowships are there. Definitely they can
So,
apply, but they have to register PhD. Then only they are eligible.
Okay,
so
sir.
my so my question is, I'm working in UAE at the moment as lecturer in the University of UAE, Central University.
Okay,
Being an Indian, can I apply for a PhD with any of the funding organization in India?
you are working as a.
I'm working as a lecturer in UAE, in the Central
Yeah,
University
yeah,
of
yeah.
UAE. And being an
No, that is
Indian,
a
can I
guest
apply?
lecture. Guest lecture,
No, I am in a
Ah,
permanent. I am in a permanent position in United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi, with the
acha,
Central
Abu Dhabi.
University of yes, with the Central University of UAE.
Okay,
Can
okay, okay.
I can I apply for a JRF fellowship funding in India?
But from there, it is not possible because
From
you have to join here any Indian universities.
okay, so basically
Uh,
the fellowship funding will be only possible if I am working as a
yeah,
permanent
yeah,
faculty
yes, exactly.
in.
Yes.
Okay, but being a citizen of India, I cannot get through a procedure or a channel.
No, no. Actually, thing is, Indian government is encouraging for Indian research. Okay, so it is for India with abroad. That fellowship is different. Fellowship means that research collaboration is different. So in that, what it is there, somebody want to do their research in abroad. Okay, they will nominate one university in India. They will do PhD there. It is a collaborative will come.
Okay, I well understood. I mean, basically, you are saying that the government is encouraging people who are faculty or they are attached to a permanent position in Indian university who can apply for a collaboration PhD or fellowship with any abroad country. Correct?
I think so for PhD, not for faculty, not for faculty,
Okay. So
only for
working.
student, only for student.
Okay. For faculty, is there a way out?
For faculty, they must be PhD or they are a permanent employee in foreign countries. They can do
Mm-hmm.
collaborative research work with Indian faculty, permanent faculty, or Indian scientist. So they have to make proposal. So half of the work will do by India, half of the work will do by foreign country. Like that, it is there. Some international
Well,
collaboration is there.
thank you, sir. Thank you for the info.
Yes, welcome.
Well noted.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kaushik, sir. Any other question? Last questions? If you have any questions, please mail to me. I will forward to Dr. Gubendran, sir. Then after that, we will share to you the answers. Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful and informative session. I hope definitely this session very useful for us, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In the
Sir,
connection,
sir, one last question, please, sir.
yes,
What is
please.
Scopus
Yeah,
ID,
no
sir?
problem.
Scopus ID, please tell me, sir. Scopus ID. Because while filling the application, they asked me what is the Scopus ID number. So what is that, sir?
No, Scopus, it is, I think so, your, based on your publication, it will come. For example, Google Scholar ID separate, Research
Okay.
Scholar ID separate. Like that,
Okay.
based on your research, you have to register.
Okay.
You have to register. Then only you will get that ID. Because I think so now all government agencies for fill up their vacancy, they are asking such a type of IDs.
When I filled the application, they are asking what is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
scope.
yeah, yeah.
Fill your
So
number
they are
there.
asking sometimes Google
Okay.
citations.
Okay.
They will ask a research gate score. Like that, it is there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Now government has implemented with one portal also, sir. I think I have to register this thing also. With
Yeah.
one. Yes.
So now mostly more 99% it is online. All now there is no hard copies. Job recruitment also through online. Through online submission only.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Now we will conclude this session. Now I invite student coordinator Ms. P. Vijay Shankari, third year EC department, to propose a vote of thanks, please.
Good evening to all. I consider it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks. I wish to begin by big thanking the resource persons for this webinar, Dr. T. Gubendran, MSc, MPhil, PhD Scientist C, High Altitude Regional Center, Zoological Survey of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, for being a part of the event, delivering the lecture and addressing the gathering. We have enriched us with knowledge and also we have benefited from your session, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. I take this opportunity to express a sincere thanks to our respected principal, Dr. L. Ganesan, for gracing this occasion. Sir always supports and helped us in conducting this program successfully. Thank you, sir. I express my deep gratitude to our respected Vice Principal, Dr. S. Rajakarunakaran and Dr. S. Kannan, Professor and Head of Electrical Department and Research Council Coordinator. I'm happy to express my heartfelt thanks to Faculty Coordinator Mr. R. Chandran, Librarian Dr. V. Shivakumar, Associate Professor MEC, and Mr. R. Arun Kumar, Assistant Professor MEC, and Student Coordinators Mr. S. Ragul and Madesh from third year MEC, and special thanks to faculty members and staff members and all the people who have contributed immensely in making this event a success. Finally, the wonderful participants who turned up in such great numbers from across India, we thank you for your cooperation. We hope to see you again in future event arranged at RIT. I once again thank you one and all.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Vijay Shankari. And I thanks to Dr. Gubendran, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Being
Thank you,
part
sir.
of a big part of this webinar. Thank you very much, sir. We need a continuous support from your side, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
thank you, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
I
Thank you.
thank to all the participants also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
We will wind up, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Participants, we share the feedback link. So please fill up. You will receive the e-certificate. Those who are in RIT students, they can get a NDL club login certificate also. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.